up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode on Keeping It Real with Credit. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing because on this channel, we talk anything and everything about personal finance and credit and how you can take your credit to the next level. I'm your host, Ray from Keeping It Real, and today we're going to be talking about, like I mentioned before, is how to stop those debt collectors in their tracks as they're calling you at all times of the day, from your cell phone, from your home, and even your place of employment. Now, special announcement, if you didn't hear it in the last video, you're gonna hear it today. Keeping It Real with Credit is now offering a free credit evaluation, and it's a full service credit restoration program with a team prepared to take care of all of your credit restoration needs. Now, if you wanna go ahead and speak to me directly, all you have to do is check the first link in the description below, which will take you over to the website. It's gonna ask you to plug in some of your personal information. Then I'm gonna go ahead and personally send you a link to my calendar so that you could go ahead and schedule an appointment. I'll go ahead and confirm with you. And at that time and date, you will be hearing from me or my team and offering you that free credit evaluation. In that evaluation, however, we're gonna go ahead and break down everything that's going on with your credit, how we can go ahead and fix it, time frame and price if you do choose to hire us for your credit restoration needs. So we'll be more than happy to take care of you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Now, let's get on with the topic. Debt collectors, I know how annoying they can be. Now, in order for you to understand how to stop them in the tracks and why you're saying what you're saying, you have to have a clear understanding as to how this works and this operates in the credit world, right? In the credit field. And so just to take back a little bit, first, we need to understand what a debt collection can do to your credit report and your credit score. Then we're gonna go ahead and talk about exactly how the credit bureaus and banks interpret that information and how that affects you when it comes to taking care or settling that debt. So when it comes to debt collections, once a collection hits your credit report, what happens is that can be obviously detrimental to your score. So for example, if you were to have a perfect 850 credit score and you let one account fall late or one account fall into collections, that could potentially drop your score up to 100 points, if not even more, right? And what happens is typically accounts don't go off into collections until 6 months after that first date of delinquency if you stop making payments of any sorts. They'll go ahead and transfer that off or charge it off over to the next debt collector, and they're gonna go ahead after you for that debt. Now, with that being said, keep in mind that the banks of today are using older FICO scoring models. And what do I mean? FICO is basically the scoring model that basically any bank uses to determine whether to lend you money of any sorts, whether you're gonna go ahead and buy a car, or you're gonna go ahead and buy a home, a boat, whatever it is that you wanna do, that's what they're gonna go ahead and look at. What a lot of people don't know is that there's different variations in different FICO scoring models, right? And so there's FICO scoring model 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, or 9, which is usually the newer ones. Now, the newer ones are typically what you have access to when you sign up for any credit monitoring site. The fact of the matter is that really don't go off of that credit score because that's not what the banks are using today. What the banks are using today are older FICO scoring model that calculate a collection, whether it's paid or not, as negatively impacting your score. So if you pay it, it's bad, and if you don't pay it, it's bad. I'm not saying to shy away from your debts, but if it's bad regardless, we need to build a process in place within ourselves before we go ahead and take care of the debt properly. Now, when it comes to that, when a debt collector calls you, there's a few things you want to go ahead and do. Sometimes when debt collectors call you, they'll just say, this is regarding a personal business matter. They won't say their name. They won't say the representative's name. They'll go ahead and off the bat ask you for a lot of personal information. So that's something that I find very weird, and to be honest, is something that I usually try to shy away from. But again, don't be nervous because that's the nature of the game. Now, when you get a debt collector calling you, the first thing they're gonna do is ask you to confirm your name. Now, it is okay to confirm your name because unlike I said in other videos, you're not the only one with your name. So again, it could be a mistake. So go ahead and confirm your name. The moment they start asking you to confirm your personal information like date of birth, social security, or address of any sorts, do not confirm that part. Basically, what I teach or coach my clients to say is you can confirm your name, And then what you want to go ahead and do is you can ask them for their information. You can ask them for their information and say, what company are you calling from? What is your name? What is this regarding to? Because at the end of the day, you never contracted with this company. You contracted with the original creditor, which charged off your debt and sold it off to these debt collectors. Now, make sure that this conversation is fully recorded. What you can do is you can have your phone on speakerphone and have another phone recording that towards where it shows the phone number and everything else. And what you want to go ahead and do is say, sir, ma'am, respectfully, I've never contracted with you as a company. I've never heard of you as a company. And so if I do have a personal business matter, if I do owe you money of any kind, please send me correspondence to the address you have on your computer. And if I get it, I'm gonna go ahead and respond back to you via letter. And at this point, please do not call me any longer. If you have that on a recording and they do happen to call you again, immediately contact your consumer attorney, show them the recording, and they can sue them for violations of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And again, please confirm with your local consumer attorney to find out in other ways where you can benefit from this. Now, this will put you in a position where now you're collecting from the collector and collecting a lot of money per violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Last I heard, it could be up to $1,000 per violation, but don't quote me on it because I am not an attorney. You can go ahead and contact your local consumer attorney when it comes to more details on that. Now, by law, by the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, if you tell them not to call you any longer, they're not supposed to call you any longer. But from the first point of contact that they go ahead and talk to you about this collection, and let's say it's not on your credit report, and let's say you haven't gotten any correspondence in the mail, from that first point of contact, they have 5 business days till they send you any type of correspondences to your home. And then at that point, obviously, when you see the letter, do not ignore it. Because when you ignore debt collection calls, that's where things escalate, especially if the amount is significant enough. If the amount is significant enough, there's a high probability that they can go ahead and sue you for that debt or contact your employer and initiate some sort of wage garnishment. So what you want to do is that as soon as you get that letter, you want to go ahead and respond back via a dispute, asking for validation. Asking for validation doesn't mean that you're trying to shy away from the debt. You may recognize that debt, but asking for validation is part of the process. Before you fork out any sort of money, any sort of account numbers, you have the right to go ahead and ask for validation. I want to see the name with the original contract, with my signature, with the description of product or services that you claim that I rendered from you. And if in 30 days you cannot provide that to me, then the law states you must remove it from my credit report, right? Now we're going back to the Fair Credit Reporting Act that states that if something's unverifiable, inaccurate, or incomplete, it must be corrected or removed. At that point, if the account does get removed from the credit report, then you already know that it was either unverifiable, inaccurate, or incomplete. And personally, I wouldn't do business with anybody that cannot provide me accurate, complete, and verifiable information. Now, at that point, you can go ahead and move on forward. Now, on an extreme case, and I don't really recommend this because, again, it really involves with you divulging information that could potentially, I could say, incriminate you to that debt, and that's to go ahead and negotiate a payment for delete. Let's say this collection company does provide all the information by law. And keep in mind, based on the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, when they send you validation and it's just a statement, that is not sufficient validating proof that that is your debt. I'll go ahead and include that link in the description on what the FTC does consider as full validating proof that that debt does belong to you. But now let's say the collection company sends you all that information, then you want to go ahead and negotiate maybe what's called a payment for delete. Basically what that means is I pay you and as a result, you remove that from my credit report. Now, I must say a lot of collection companies do not offer this. It is very hard to get this, and in order to get to that point, you would have had to come up and divulge a lot of information that could potentially, again, incriminate you. But like I've told many debt collectors that have messaged me before, if you want to make more money, offer payment for deletions. Guaranteed, your company will make a lot more money because you make your money and the consumer gets that negative annotation out of their credit report in the long run. And at the end of the day, everybody wins, everybody learns their lesson, and now we could potentially move on. And in a nutshell, guys, that's pretty much it. If you have more information, if you have more questions and you want more information on how to deal with a debt collector, maybe what type of letters you want to write to the debt collectors, to go ahead and remove these items from your credit report, go ahead and contact me with the link in the description, like I told you. And part of the free credit evaluation, I'll do a full analysis on your credit report, and you will take away home a full analysis detailing all the factors that are potentially hurting your credit score. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for the love and support. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with family and friends, and on to the next episode on Keeping It Real with Credit. Peace.